Okay. All right. Welcome, folks who are just joining us. And we are doing some group updates for people who are already meeting in the Cascadia bioregion. And we are handing it over to Jeff.
Thanks, Andra. And hi, Jeff McNeely. I'm in on South Whidbey Island, and we have a group that helped organize originally, bringing Brandon, Claire, and Joe and Penny here. God, was it a year and a half ago already? And that group has met a couple of times since, but most recently last Friday, Brandon came out. We got together in person with a couple dozen people and really started to lay out the groundwork for um, you know getting clear on sort of holding the space to organize all of the different groups here locally and hopefully become landscape group that actually can keep track of everything we've done to this point and more to help share what we've learned in this process, just because we've been sort of collectively doing this for a little longer. But now I think in the last couple of weeks, it's become much more clear to me why we were doing what we're doing as I'm sort of grokking the deep dives from various sources. From the BFF or the BioFi project stuff to the learning journey. It's just, yeah. So we have folks representing different organizations, all on South Whidbey. There's folks up island as well, and we're really just into the mapping and inventory making stage of learning who do we actually have at the table, who do we need to get to the table, and you know, are we clear on what space we're holding so that we can continue moving down this path together. So I'm just really excited to be here and learning from all these other amazing places. Some I'm familiar with, some I'm not. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jeff. And I'll go ahead and give a little update here. So I am volunteering with the Regenerate Northern Willamette Valley team, kind of in the Portland area. And we've been meeting since November, which has been really exciting. We're looking to apply for a couple grants here soon. So really shifting our capacity up there. We've got a volunteer team of about 8 to 10 people who are pretty active. And we just did our first land tending event that we invited the community members to on Saturday, which was really, really lovely. We had a sitting circle, we had some ivy pulling teams, blackberry pulling teams, we had we had a trash team, we had a dogwood propagation team. We were able to get several shopping carts out of the creek. And then we were able to make baskets out of some of the ivy that we pulled, which was really, really exciting and fun. So we're looking forward to doing that event monthly and also continue to work on doing directory building and calendar building for the community here in the area, doing regenerative projects. So yeah, and then I'd also just like to open up this space to anyone who's doing land-based work, land tending, mutual aid, things like that, that maybe aren't directly related, but just something that's going on in your world. And feel free to raise your hand and you can kind of share about some of that work that you're doing. And Daniel, over to you.
We're in early stages, but we're looking at setting up sort of an eco quests program so that for in our region, partnering with places like Rifle Bird Sanctuary, Camosun Bog, different groups, so that people go to different regions that represent the different ecologies in the area, learn from somebody who understands the area a little bit, and then do practical work to help with restoration there, followed by us meeting, having some food, and talking further about the work. So we're just in the ideation and beginning to reach out stage, but pretty excited to be rolling up sleeves soon.
Beautiful. Thank you, Daniel. Over to you, Jonathan.
I hope you can all, I'm hoping you can all hear me. Bella, play. We're I'm curating 120 acres on the slopes of Mount Shasta, The second's the last of the Cascades on the southern end of Cascadia. And in the month of April, we're going to be planting 4,700 trees, making biochar and doing small water catchment systems. Not sure you can all see me. So yeah, I'd like to welcome any of you who want to come down to the lower reaches of Cascadia and help us tend this property on the south side of Mount Shasta. I'm sorry, the north side of Mount Shasta. I'm a little bit confused this morning.
Beautiful, thank you. I just realized there's two Jonathans, so let's go to Jonathan Betts next.
Thanks. For anyone who's interested in actually following the leadership of Native American indigenous people as they're addressing especially food sovereignty, there's a conference coming up the beginning of first weekend of May, May 2nd and 3rd at the University of Washington. It's called The Living Breath of Wethlabalt. I'm one of very few non-Native Americans who attends that conference every year, but they are open to anyone and it's quite inexpensive. It's like $30. It's formatted as an academic conference, but you get a tremendous amount of indigenous learning there.
Beautiful. And if you want to post a link to that in the chat, I'm sure that there might be people who are interested. And then Claire, over to you.
Yeah, I was going to just ask for a link for that too. That sounds amazing. Yeah, with Regenerate Cascadia, I feel like my involvement is very peripheral at this point, but within the community arts is, you know, a lot of that I was deeply involved in the Victoria area. Barker Creek, the Friends of Barker Creek I had participated and supported a community art initiative that was part of their biodiversity day last year, and that was like there was a really amazing community response to that. And so they've decided to actually put their effort into more community art. But this time, several of the community artists that have been involved with Barker Creek are also involved in some of the other watersheds that are within the same geographic area. And so there's an initiative that's underway to start using community art to actually cross-pollinate the initiatives and the work that's going on in the different watersheds that are all part of the same larger watershed. And I'm really excited because people have been talking about actually needing to cross-pollinate what's happening. And the community arts are such an easy but celebratory way of doing that. And I will just put this in, I was really surprised at the kind of feedback we had, because I sort of wondered how people would respond, because we were actually talking about the sacred. There was this, I can describe that in another time, what we did, but people really responded to that. And obviously we're hungry for that conversation. So just wanted to put that out there, that I was surprised at that had generated so much in sort of excitement, enthusiasm from like a broad spectrum of people.
Beautiful, Claire. Thank you so much for bringing that in. And Denise.
Thank you, Claire. I loved community art is so important and so transformative. My background is community art and celebration, and I 9 years ago now, we went out in the community and talked to people about what they need to thrive. And we did that by just setting up art supplies in public spaces and invited people to come and talk to us. And the goal really was to have people share their humanity and their stories with each other. And what we heard from that is people need affordable housing and community. So we've been working on developing permanently affordable housing. We're building in Burien. We're just about have our land use permit for 27 permanently affordable cottages that will be surrounded by a food forest. And so this work and that work is like totally connected, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, and I'm looking forward to meeting more and really using the art to transform culture is so powerful, and you just never know where it's going to go.
Beautiful. Thank you for that share, Denise. Wonderful. So let's just take a little bit of a deep breath to bask in how much wonderful, beautiful work is being done that everyone has pulled into this room. So let's just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Beautiful. And that's all happening within 2 weeks of the beginning of this learning journey. And I know a lot of you had a lot of this already brewing and under the surface, but things are really happening. There's a lot of energy and a lot of potentiality, and it's really fun to be sitting here and yeah, I'm getting to watch some of that happen. So very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, so I'm going to move into sort of our collective learning and Skillshare situation. And the first thing that I want to do is throughout this regional call, I want to bring in little pieces of participatory governance and so especially sociocracy, which is what I'm most familiar with. But if you know about a participatory governance method and you'd like to give a short presentation on it, please let me know because that would fit really well into this space at some point down the line. And actually, Daniel is going to give a short sociocracy presentation next call. So if you're really interested in that, please let me know. And yeah, we can either slot you into that call or later down the road. So yeah. So anyway, one thing that I really like bringing into, especially these digital spaces, to help us all be in our bodies, even when we're just little squares on the screen, is to bring in some nonverbal communication. So I'll give one little sociocratic gesture each meeting that we can just kind of practice together. So I think it's really fun to bring that and that way you can react in real time and give your speakers and facilitators some feedback. So the first one that you might have seen is this just gesture. So it's called up twinkles. And basically it just means like, wow, I really agree with that, or that's really exciting, or I'm feeling some kind of way about it. So that's a fun way to just give people some feedback that like, yes, I'm feeling some chills, some excitement. So we can use that throughout this meeting and just throughout your life. It's a fun. Most people understand that that's exciting. So yeah, that's a fun little option. And then yeah, I just wanted to spend some time with a bit of a screen share here. So let me pull that up. So I guess I do want to start with just a little bit of an introduction to who I am. So my name is Andra Voltavine. I came onto the Regenerate Cascadia team a few months ago to specifically help steward this amazing Cascadia cohort through the learning journey. And I've been really, really enjoying that role. It's been a really good fit for my skill set. And I'll speak a little bit more about that later. But I just wanted to show you, so this is a map of everyone in the design school right now, or who's actually in the learning journey. And if it's a blue marker, that means there's only one person in that location. And if there's an orange marker, it means there are several people in that location. And we have a total of about 93 people in the learning journey from Cascadia last I checked. So I'm just going to move through so that you can see this is kind of the lower part of BC and then upper Washington. And I'm just going to move through here to show you who's maybe around you. And if you haven't been put into contact with the people who are nearby your location yet, let me know and I can help that happen. I didn't get permission to share contact information from the first set of people who'd signed up for the learning journey. So I have to ask for permission to share your information, but we can get that rolling and make that happen if it hasn't happened already. So yeah, we've got a lot of people coming in from Washington. We've got some clusters of people in Oregon and Northern California. And just a couple things that I'm noticing from this map here is that even though Cascadia extends into all of Idaho and the northern parts of Nevada and Utah and the western parts of Montana, we don't have many people calling in from that area. So that to me says, okay, let's do some more outreach into maybe more rural communities and how can we help them start organizing around their landscapes. So just this is kind of interesting, and I can also share some screenshots of this later if you're interested in getting to know where people are coming in from. So I just thought that that was a nice little bit of context there. And then I'm going to move into this presentation here on just what is Regenerate Cascadia? What are you coming into? And so the design school for Regenerating Earth is a global movement that's trying to give a to spark a lot of movement in the regenerative community, and ideally to create these hubs or learning centers that can bring the whole landscape groups and teams together and help them organize, help them collaborate. And so Regenerate Cascadia is a organization that is an umbrella organization for the Cascadia bioregion, and we've been mobilizing for quite a few years now and just giving a little bit of context about how that has all happened. So I'm going to click through this. So Regenerate Cascadia is a program of the Department of Bioregion, and it's co-administrated by Brandon Letzinger and Claire Atwell. They've been working together really well. I'm sure that many of you have been in contact with them. They're lovely human beings. And we also have brought on a lot of other people. Taya Seidler has come on as someone who's doing a lot of communication strategies around this work. There's me, who's come in as the cohort coordinator, and I'm moving also into a community steward role. There's Ben Mosley, who's here on the call, who's doing a lot of the operations and finance side of things. Lisa Bade is developing educational materials for us and is also a beautiful graphic designer. Corey Seven, who's also here on the call with us, is really doing some beautiful blog updates to help us create that cohesive story of all of the work that we're doing here as part of the bioregional movement. And I feel like I might be forgetting a few people, but there are, Ron. Ron is also in the design school and is bringing a lot of the BioFi pieces into that. And there's so many other people who are volunteering and contributing to this work in a variety of ways, but I just wanted to name a few here. So as Regenerate Cascadia, we're trying to connect this whole big landscape cohesively. And so how do we do that and create these nested scales that also still help these groups maintain autonomy and presence in their communities? So also Regenerate Cascadia is primarily funded by the EDGE Prize right now, and we're looking to diversify those funding streams. So we're looking into various BioFi projects as well as private funders and other methods of financing. And yeah, this is, I believe, also through the Novo Foundation. So there's a really big set of funding that has helped jumpstart a lot of the projects and funded and supported a lot of the people who are presently working on this. And this is just a really, really high level overview of what bioregional financing looks like. And I would really highly suggest this book, Bioregional Financing Facilities. It just recently came out. I believe that there's a free copy available at biofi.earth. But really looking at how to keep money in the landscape and reinvest in the landscape rather than letting investors come in and then extract that money and that value out of a landscape and giving it somewhere else. So I know that Joe Brewer is going to talk a lot more about bioregional financing and funding ecosystems throughout the learning journey, but I just wanted to give you just a little taste of what that all looks like. And I also want to plug that there is a bioregional finance guild that meets actually right before this meeting on every other Friday that you can go and visit and learn more if you want to know about bioregional financing. And then, so this is a map that was developed for Cascadia to define the bioregion. And Joe will go a lot more into this about how we define bioregions, what we're looking at. But here's just an overview and how it was determined that we decided what was the Cascadia bioregions. And I do just want to say that bioregions are very flexible frameworks. They're not hard boundaries like they are when you have a state or a country line on the map. They're very fluid, they're very flexible, and they change over time. They change based on stories, they change based on water and movement in the landscape and things of that nature. So why are we organizing on the bioregional level? It's powerful. It's important. It brings in cohesive story. It helps us understand our sense of identity, and it helps us bond with the land, which is something that a lot of us have been shifting away from over time. Yeah, so I'm kind of moving through these slides pretty quickly, but just want to give you a little bit of background here. So the first Cascadia Bioregional Congress happened in 1986. So again, this has like a really long history of organizing. And I also just want to say that all of this started happening long, long before the term bioregionalism was even in the vocabulary, because there were many, many indigenous cultures who were stewarding the land in a lot of the same ways and have been helping that lifeway stay alive through a lot of colonization and things of that nature. So this is a way for us to be in allyship with that movement, with indigenous peoples, without completely relying on them or tokenizing their knowledge. And then just a little bit of more history about Cascadia and what we've been working on. So in 2023, we did an activation tour. So in that, Joe Brewer came and visited all of these sites and helped to form a cohesive narrative of all of these people working together and these projects, and just got everybody excited about this work and what's going on. So these are all of the sites that were visited, and there's I'm noticing that there's a lot of little pockets of organizations and groups that have formed as a result of this. So that's really exciting to see that that's all been taking off over the last couple of years. These are some pictures from the Eugene tour. So you can see Joe there. And this is actually a picture from the lodge at Lost Valley Education Center, which is a really lovely place to visit if you've never been there before. But yeah, so some sites from the Eugene section of the activation tour. And yeah, a little bit about the whole systems approach. So we want to fund connected landscape outcomes across a bioregion that prioritize the central role of place-based stewardship, ensures decision-making is held by those at the local level. So that was what I was talking about individual groups holding autonomy and subsidiarity, develop trust-based networks that hold the integrity of the work, and uses a nested scale structure to facilitate information flow, representation, and learning across the whole system. So that's kind of what we're looking at a very high level here. And then again, just really remembering that none of us are doing this alone. So this is the work that Regenerate Cascadia in the Cascadia bioregion specifically is doing, but there's all of these other hubs that have developed both as a result of the Design School for Regenerating Earth, but also even beyond that. There are so many movements we don't even have connections to yet that are happening all over the world. And this is something that really gives me a big sense of hope when I'm looking at, when we're talking about planetary boundaries, when we're talking about collapse, like there is also this enormous movement going through the globe right now. And a lot of it's happening underground. A lot of it isn't getting a lot of press, but it is happening. So questions that we're asking ourselves right now: how can we use this movement to co-create a regenerative future for ourselves and future generations? How can we ensure our work changes the paradigms that landed us here? And how can we listen to the land deeply enough for it to lead us in a coherent pathway? So maybe let's just take a moment and just allow that information to digest in our bodies. Maybe take another deep breath. And I just want to name that a lot of this work happens digitally. A lot of this work happens over email, over Zoom, but it's really, really important that we find ways to continually reconnect to the land so that we are listening, so that we are cultivating that relationship and building that life way as we go, so that we have a real and tangible view of the work that we're doing in the world and how important it is to the landscape. So yeah, just some things that we're working on and stepping stones along this path to bioregionalism in general. And I'll just kind of go through these as they come up. This is just kind of an overview of what your landscape group might start doing and how you might start doing this self-organizing in your landscape and how it might connect to other landscapes. All right. And then, so yes, as we're talking about how you fit into all this big picture, this big umbrella of Regenerate Cascadia. So right now you're here, the individuals, general public, you are currently in the learning journey, learning about how to organize your bioregion. You're gaining skills, you're gaining knowledge, you're talking to people in your community. And then if you're like, yes, I really want to go deeper, I really want to bring this work into the world, I want to help lead this work, then you might move into this seed group option. So basically that's you submit an online application to Regenerate Cascadia. We establish some community agreements, which are co-created, and then you can start using some of the benefits of Regenerate Cascadia's 501c3 status. Right now we are registered in Oregon and Washington, and we have active movement in getting registered in Canada as well, so that we can really facilitate this flow funding and helping organizations get off the ground. So as a seed group, you can collect up to $12,000 a year in donations, and you get to keep 100% of those funds. So just that's a really good way to get started. Also, we can help you get a website up on the Regenerate Cascadia, or a webpage up on the website, so that you have a way to have people join you and find you. And we just ask that you're meeting about once a month or at least quarterly, and that you are giving monthly updates about what's going on, how's it going for you, that we can then share as a portfolio to try to get funding from other sources. So that's kind of that reciprocity agreement. And then as the next step, if you are either feeling really ready with the group that you have that is existing right now, or if you are a seed group and ready to move into a little bit more of grants and fundraising and just in general, like becoming a little bit more autonomous, then you can become this landscape group. So it has all the requirements of the seed group, but then you can do unlimited fundraising, you can apply for grants, and then Regenerate Cascadia would collect a fiscal sponsorship fee for the admin cost of managing bank accounts and doing all of that nonprofit report backs and all of those things. But this is a really great way for groups that are really getting going on the ground to raise up a level and to keep going without having to apply for that nonprofit status, because that is a lot of work and requires a lot of maintenance and admin labor. And then at the end of the design school learning journey this year, you'll have, so for groups that have been organizing really well and are feeling ready to take yet another step forward, there'll be an application process there for our hub cultivator, which will help organizations become their own bioregional financing facilities and really start to get independence, but also in this nested scale of coherence where you're still part of the bioregional movement, but you're operating and fostering your own landscape work there. So that's just kind of a broad overview of what's possible for your group as you're coming in and you're starting to organize, and the sorts of resources that might be available to you as you do that. So as a group, we would just hope that you're hosting regular team meetings, that you add a page for your group on the Regenerate Cascadia website, and I will help you all get that up and running and help you teach you how to use it. If you'd like to be able to update it yourself, you'll add updates, announcements, and other, sorry, someone just, okay, hang on. Tech stuff also happening. Thanks for your patience. So yeah, you'll add a page for your group on the website, and then you'll add updates, announcements, and events to the Regenerate Cascadia website and to the newsletter, which will help people find you. And then we'll have these regular bioregional update sessions, which are right now happening here or as part of the community calls in the learning journey. But we will continue those even after the learning journey ends. And then I'm going to, actually, this is a decent page here. So this is right now our website template for when your group is ready for a web page. So these are kind of some of the functionalities. So you'll have your own email list that you can use as a newsletter, and you'll also have access to our newsletter and putting content on there. And then just kind of a description of your group, any links that you have. You're welcome to have your own website also. We just ask that there is a way that we can filter people if they come in at the Regenerate Cascadia level to your individual landscape group. We'll have some recent updates, maybe your blog posts here. We'll have some event tags so that you can list your event both on the Regenerate Cascadia website, calendar, and then also have a landscape specific calendar here. This Buddy Boss link is a sort of a social forum space for your group if you want it to do some kind of like organizing, and it's a place for you to offer documents and resources to your internal organizing team if that's something that you want. And then, like we said, you can have a donation button here that will go into a separate bank account. And stewards, so they're people that are currently holding this work in your landscape, and then landscape partners if you have any people that you're working with. So this is a very customizable template. If there's things you want, things you don't want about this, we can work with you through that whole process. So all right, I'm going to stop sharing now. And yeah, let's go ahead and just open that up for questions. So I know that was a lot, and yeah, I just wanted to give you an overview of what all is possible and what all is in the works here. So we'll head over to Claire.
Yeah, Andra, I just actually wanted to acknowledge you and just how good it feels to have someone else to to really beautifully walk people through the story of Regenerate Cascadia, and just yeah, no, that is really great. And maybe also just to say, I know this is a question that came up about the website, but we are, so anyway, maybe the way to say this is, one of the things about the program that we're holding, and I've talked about this before, but the minimum viable process, it's like not wanting to overwhelm people with asking people to do too much, but what are the, like, really thinking about, like, what are the minimum things that we need to hold? And that's true for Regenerate Cascadia as well. There's so much that we're trying to do, and we just don't have the resources and the capacity to do everything. And so, yes, the website has been slower. There have been issues in the past, but it's doing a very core function of bringing people into like a common portal to, to get to the information. And just to sort of say that we are working with, once things start to get really sophisticated and we're adding a lot more, there are really incredible groups that we're in the process of actually developing partnerships with, where some of those digital tools will be available. So I wanted to just basically draw attention to, it's like a regenerative principle of not overstretching ourselves, but focusing on what is really core for building the foundation of what we're doing. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, thank you, Andra. It's so good to have you here doing this.
Thank you, Claire. That means a lot to me. As someone who's still learning all of this and really getting my own feet on the ground, I really appreciate the grace in trying to explain this amazing story. And so I'm really grateful that it landed well. I did see Brandon's note in the chat that I messed up on exactly where the funding is coming from, but we'll figure out that story in more detail. And if you have questions about that, you can definitely ask Brandon. He's very available. So let's go over to Daniel. Any questions?
Yeah, just a quick question. For organizations, I know we've talked a little bit about this, but if, for example, Fraser Lowland is able to get fiscal sponsorship in Canada, we'd love to still be following along the process that's going on. And so I'd love to explore what that track looks like, where even if it isn't about accepting the donations and such, following the rest of that process of kind of collaboration and support with Regenerate Cascadia.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that in. Yeah, every group is we're going to have a template because we want to have this coherence across the bioregion, but also every group is going to be different. And so, some groups will already have a fiscal sponsor that they're working with, but want to have that coherence with the bioregional movement. And so that's where the co-creation comes in, and that's where sort of the customization piece comes in. And we do really want to be working with groups to make sure that it's fitting wherever they're at right now. So thank you for bringing that in. Beautiful. Any other questions or comments about that history? Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you. And we're going to head into breakout rooms here momentarily. And I'm just going to post in the chat And I will also send this into your breakout rooms once you are there, just what we're going to be doing in the breakout groups. So first, you'll go ahead and decide who's going to give a little presentation once you come back from your breakout group. So I would just gently suggest that if you are not a person who typically volunteers for that, that you maybe stretch yourself just a little bit and try to help build the narrative of your group. Just as a little, we're all learning here. We're all getting to just build our skill sets in leadership over time. So I would just gently push you to be in your own agency and maybe volunteer for that role of report backs if you haven't done anything like that before. So yeah, I'm going to open up the breakout rooms geographically, and I'm going to let you self-select which one you would like to be in, because I know some of you are coming in from multiple locations, and you know your geography better than I do. So I'm going to give you 8 options, and you can kind of self-select. If there's only a couple people in your room, you can maybe come back and we can put you into a different room, but we'll see how this goes. And so you'll do some short introductions, maybe give everyone just a minute or two to introduce themselves, the kind of work that they're doing. And then as an icebreaker question, what skills and resources would each of you bring in the event of an earthquake? So just getting really curious about like, all right, all cards on the table, let's go. How are we going to work through that situation together? And then if you have time, you can start talking about how is regenerating the landscape and disaster resilience similar. So give me just a moment to open up these breakout groups, and then I will send you on your merry way. Welcome back, welcome back. Let's all take a deep breath to come back into the space. Hope those were juicy conversations. And I think we ended up with 4 groups. So is there a person who wants to give a report back from their group? Maybe just about maybe a 2-minute share? You can raise your hand. All right, Julie, go for it.
Of our dozen Olympic Peninsula people, we had 3 of us here, so that's great. And yeah, we let's see. To answer those 2 questions, both Kimberly and Ellen are outside of the tsunami area up in Squamish area, Sequim. And so they would, I actually only remember what Anne said. She would welcome people in at the front of the street to her home where it was safe. And I think that was Ellen, and I forget what you said. Sorry, Kimberly. And then they're also both good at like organizing, finding out skills as people enter. So that sounded amazing for an earthquake. And to answer the question, the second question about how disaster, I forget how you worded it, and land regeneration are connected. I would say that I like what the Prout people in Eugene are doing with disaster transition the last couple of years. And I would say what I really feel in my gut is a connection, and they both agreed, so I'm just going to share mine, was that we don't, in this culture, we all still feel we're separate and not connected, and that we don't need each other. So disaster is a beautiful opportunity to transition into the reality of that we do need each other and we are connected. So that's to me how those are connected. I hope my feedback was okay. Check.
Great job. Thank you, Julie. And moving to Nicole.
Thanks, y'all. We had a very large group, like over 20 folks, I think. And so we only had a chance to do introductions and we didn't get into discussion. I won't repeat all of our skills for the sake of time, but there was just a wide range of skills, including kind of practical, tangible skills like plant medicine and green building, and more social skills, including, hosting events and bringing people together, community organizing, and project management, and also just people expressing a desire to learn new skills and a desire to take instruction from other folks who are experts. So we had a really rich conversation of just introductions and hearing from each other.
Great, thank you. And if you guys end up having ideas of how to break these breakouts out differently in the future, please let me know, and we can kind of adapt that as we move through these calls through the course. Let's move over to you, Sue.
So you're muted.
Microphone lower left. Andrew, you can send her an invitation to unmute and maybe she'll.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Coming through.
We come back to her maybe?
Okay, yeah. Is there anybody else that wants to do a share while Sue tries to figure that out? Maybe someone else from that same group who wants to share. I think Sue is in the Seattle group. And I think we had a Willamette / Shasta group. Anybody want to share from that one? Okay, feeling a little shy today. That's okay. Hopefully that you got something out of those conversations. And like I said, we will keep iterating on these breakout rooms and kind of figure out the best way to do this so that we can help each other organize. And yeah, I appreciate you all engaging with that experiment. And yeah, welcome to put what you wanted to say in the chat, Sue. We'd love to hear from you if possible. And I'm going to go ahead and move into our little closeout here. So I believe that Ellen had asked to lead a grounding practice for this next call. So that's on April 11th. So we'll slate Ellen in for that grounding practice. And I'm very excited to see what that will look like. And then is there anyone who would be interested in being tech support at the next call on April 11th? So helping with breakout rooms and monitoring the chat. Ben, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, beautiful. And then is there someone who would like to bring a poem or a short story that's kind of related to regenerative work or nature or anything? Would you like to sign up for that on April 11th? Nicole? Okay, perfect. I got you down. Beautiful. All right. Cool. So, and then I do want to mention that Daniel is going to be facilitating the next call, and Daniel's going to bring a little presentation on the intro to sociocracy. I will likely not be there, but I will make sure that Daniel has lots of support and all of the host privileges and everything. So hopefully that will go well. And then I will be back and I will be here for all of the rest of the meetings to help facilitate all of this. So it's the only one I had to miss. Okay, so to do a little closeout here, I actually brought a poem, so let me share my screen. So since it's a bit of a short poem, I think I'll read it through and then I'll ask for someone to read it again. So, right, so I'll read it through. So this was on September 3rd, 2024. After 100 years of dams, the Klamath River flows freely again, and I did write this. We are the rivers. The rivers, the Superfund sites, the soils that settle down past surface. We are the silt that shifts with weather, sleeping giants, great gaping gully wounds left in earth. Someday we will unearth these depths and cry the river's tears, but today the dams have come down and the rivers run clear. Salmon will soon swim and spawn in streams, and ladders demonstrate humanity in our ask for forgiveness. We are the rivers, and we respire droplets back into the bends in banks. We are the rivers, flowing north, flowing south, flowing up into the clouds and down mountain slopes. We are the fluid born to this land as we hold light and air. We are the rivers. Watch us flow and fill, swell and empty. We are the water and the volcanic pockets that heat and steam. We are the rivers. Let us run and wrestle, listen to the sound of washing history downstream in a dream of the future. And is there someone who would like to read that back through one more time? All right, Jonathan Betts.
On September 3rd, 2024, after 100 years of dams, the Klamath River flows freely again. The rivers, the Superfund sites, the soils that settle down past surface. We are the silt that shifts with weather, sleeping giants, great gaping gully wounds left in earth. Someday we will unearth these depths and cry the river's tears. But today the dams have come down and the rivers run clear. Salmon will soon swim and spawn in streams, and ladders demonstrate humanity and our ask for forgiveness. We are the rivers, and we respire droplets back into the bends in banks. We are the rivers, flowing north, flowing south, flowing up into clouds and down mountain slopes. We are the fluid born to this land as we hold light and air. We are the rivers. Watch us flow and fill, swell and empty. We are the water and the volcanic pockets that heat and steam. We are the rivers. Let us run and wrestle. Listen to the sound of washing history downstream in a dream of the future.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. That was beautiful. All right. I just also want to say thank you so much for bearing with technical difficulties and just all of the facilitation involved in creating a space like this and iterating on a space like this. So thank you for being here. I look forward to continuing to collaborate with you in the learning journey. And let's go ahead and all share one last collective breath to send us out. So deep breath in and back out. Thank you. Looking forward
Thank you,
to
Andra.
seeing you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.